Ciao a tutti, it's Autumn, and we've officially broke the meta. Oh, not officially. I'm not entirely sure whether this deck is tier 2 or tier 3, but the fact that I'm asking myself, is this deck tier 2, is quite the accomplishment. Shoutouts to Flamonauta. If you've seen my last video, he's the one who did that deck profile, and this is his list. By the way, I have the lists from that event on my site. Yeah, I've also been playing the deck in the last few tournaments. I've topped twice out of 3 times. The third time I'm 1-3 right now, so not the best record. Yeah, what artifact is the wave? So, what is the synergy between Watts and artifacts? Why is this deck a thing? How did we get here? Well, first things first, Flamonauta is kind of new to the hat scene and he's self-admittedly a bit of a noob. So he wanted to get me on the deck because, I thought with much worse artifact decks. And, I've seen him talk about the deck in chats, and, I have generally a policy to not comment on people's deck lists unless asked to. But, yeah, it looked interesting, but I didn't get it. And I told him I didn't get it. And he responded to me with a 5-page PDF file on how the deck works and what's the synergy and how he got to the deck. And so I was intrigued and I tried it and I loved it. So we're gonna go over my last topping list first and then get into some replays and more importantly explain the synergy. So we have, triple moral attack, 1 big attack, 1 scythe, pretty standard. Triple Thunder Seahorse, double Wat Cobra, double Wat Giraffe, and double Mahander. Basically, if you don't know what these guys do, which fair enough, Thunder Seahorse, you can discard him, and then you can add 2 level 4 Light Thunders with the same name and 1600 attack or less, but we only run these guys. And he's a hard once per turn, which is relevant because he can search himself, which is a play that I like to do sometimes. And he also cannot special summon during the turn activities effect, which is very relevant, but it's fine. Next we have Wat Cobra. Both Cobra and Giraffe can attack directly, and Cobra has 1000 attack, Giraffe has 1200. And if Cobra inflicts battle damage by direct attack, he can add 1 Wat monster from the deck to the hand. Meanwhile, Giraffe adds when he connects, he turns off every single card effect of the opponent for the remainder of the turn, until the end phase, at least. Giraffe is brutal. Giraffe is like the reason why the deck works, kinda. Everything is kind of the reason why the deck works, but Giraffe is the win condition that makes Watts so good. Because basically, like, they have to address it. They have to address the Giraffe in the room, or else, well, I can just instant fusion in main phase 2 and Exiton and win. And they cannot do anything. They can trigger anything, they can chain anything, they can do nothing. And then we have 2 Mahanders for extenders, that's us double normal summon. And then we have 2 Mermolios. I tried 2 this event. Also Tukage Tokage, I also tried 2 this event. In this city where I went 1-3, I actually played 1 and 1. And instead I played the triple Maxi and 1 Diddy Crow. Here I'm playing 2 Diddy Crow. But you don't really need to see that much engine. Kind of one of the main issues that I have with the deck is that there's not enough tech space. So cutting some engine is something that I'm trying out. I'm even considering cutting the turn moral attack because this deck is a lot more aggressive than Artifact Trap Bricks. Then for spells, triple ignition, double cyclone, 2 double cyclone, 2 instant fusion and triple duality. Duality is pretty good. Traps, triple sanctum, triple call of the haunted, TTHN, bottomless, torrential tribute and warning, pretty standard. Extra deck, Marvelous and Ojama Knight. And we have for rank 5s Pleiades, Tiras and M7, which you can also make with Omega. For rank 4s we have Omega, Karen Gorgon, Abyss Dweller, Demon Direwolf, Exiton, Cowboy, King with the Feral Imps, Black Sheep, and double Silent on Arc. In this event I tried Demon Direwolf. It came up once, but he is pretty niche, but I didn't really know what to side in, so I was fine with siding Ragna 0. Then side deck, you know, the second scythe, pretty standard for my lists. I just really like having the second scythe for Gilgias, and also for going first versus combo, but you know, mainly Gilgias. Also going second versus Murmels, it's pretty good. Well, in this deck, you know, it's not necessarily better than Moreltak, but you know, in Constellars, that's also one of the upsides. Bit of a tangent. Then double DD Crow, the third Maxi, Fang C, Dark Hole, which you could definitely main. Then Dimensional Fissure, Mind Control, the third double Cyclone, 2 Black Horn of Heaven, 2 Debunk, Breakthrough Skill, and the Ragna 0. So yeah, let's get into some replays. But yeah, what is the synergy between artifacts and Watts? Well, rather, what is the synergy between artifacts and Watts? Sorry, I had to do it. Ask yourself, what is the synergy behind artifacts and trap tricks is? There isn't any. Not any direct synergy. But what you can do is, you know, artifacts, pretty powerful engine. They don't take your normal summon, so, you know, you want to pair it with something that gives you a normal summon. So, you know, the trap tricks is, they give you pluses, they give you defensive pluses, they give you access to the rank 4 pool. Call of the Haunted is a pretty good card, and Duality, also pretty good. But, so, what is the synergy behind artifacts and Watts? Well, they give you pluses, offensive pluses, they give you access to the rank 4 pool, they synergize with Call of the Haunted and Duality, which are great with artifacts. So yeah, that is pretty similar to Artifact Trap Tricks' synergy. Now, what are the strengths of the deck compared to Artifact Trap Tricks? Well, one of the main things is, in my opinion, the Gilgia matchup. Having access to Giraffe lets you attack into face downs a lot easier. You don't even need the rank 4 access. If you have an artifact on the field, go Giraffe, attack, okay? If they let it through, now you can attack into any face down with your moral attack with ease. If not, you can chain, you can go, okay, Call of the Haunted or Mahander and attack into a face down. And if it's a hand, it dies. If it's a Gilgia Armor, you go Memphis to Black Sheep of Corn and get rid of it. So the core of the deck is, you know, the artifact package and then triple Thunder Seahorse to give you so many pluses. Double What Cobra to give you gadget-like plays, to give you the double Giraffe and the double Mahander. Then, you know, Torrential Warning, Bottomless Tender Traps, Duality, Call of the Haunted, and the Instant Fusion. Those are kind of like the main, the core cards of the deck. And that's like 30 to 31 cards. So then you have not a lot of room to play with. Murmillo isn't mandatory, but you know, one Murmillo is very nice because one of the main issues with the deck is turn 1 you don't have any normal summon. Now, depending on the matchup, you know, in some situations you can normal summon and be fine, depending on your hand also. Because, you know, if you can get a normal summon turn 1 to stick, that's very good because, you know, you have a body on the field already. But usually it's not easy to defend. But you have Murmillo and suddenly you have a good turn 1 played. Besides Seahorse. And I just realized I was talking about the strengths of the deck. Oh, I'll get there. I'll get back there eventually. But then we have Kage Tokage, which was like one of those things that I went like, wait, you can put Kage Tokages into rank 4 decks if just to give you a play to give you follow-up of rank 4? That's insane. That's amazing. How have I never thought about that? I was genuinely embarrassed. Like genuinely. Like how had I never thought about that before? I don't know. But yeah, here something that you can see that is kind of a weakness is well, here I should have just kept 7 cards in hand so I could have discarded the moral attack. But you know, often you might not want to do anything. You might want to not set anything. But since you go like Thunder Seahorse and then no normal summon, you can't really do that. Not at least without going to hand size limit. But yeah, then so yeah, we have Kage Tokage to get follow-up plays if we don't have any rank 4 to do. But frankly, I never find myself in that situation, like very rarely. So you know, I could consider cutting it later on, but you know, at the end of the day, even if you don't make it if you don't make King of the Four Limbs that often, having an extra extender is still, you know, nice. It's not a bad card to draw in any way, unless you wanted to make King of the Four Limbs, then you can't really do that if you draw it already. Then you have like Maxi, which is I really like Maxi in this deck because you know, it's a deck where I want the opponent to just chill, and I want upstarts to side out because this deck has a kind of an issue with setting stuff out. So yeah, that's pretty nice. But you could also play cards like Dark Hole, which I'm thinking of moving back to the main deck. Not entirely sure why I wasn't maining it before. I kind of just didn't think about it, but you know, I said it in a lot. DD Crow is pretty good. Flamonata likes it more. I'm not that big of a fan of it in the main deck, but you know, it's a good card. It's DD Crow. Then you know, I really want to try Soul Charge, which you know, you might be surprised that it wasn't in the deck either way, because you know, we can fill the graveyard very quickly, but you know, at the end of the day, we get a lot of value from the battle phase. You know, usually we make our X-Seasons in main phase 2. So you know, Soul Charge isn't that powerful, also because you know, having life points is nice to just let our Watts die without too much to worry about our life points. But you know, at the end of the day, Soul Charge is still Soul Charge. It's just nice to be able to steal games out of nowhere. But yeah, in terms of strengths, another strength is just this deck is really good at punishing Soul Charge. It's kind of similar to Gravekeepers in a way, but you know, whereas Gravekeeper stuns Soul Charge entirely, but is unreliable because you know, Necro Valley has to be on the field. Watts at any point when Soul Charge is activated, that's a ticking time bomb. You know, obviously, if they make a good enough use of Soul Charge, they can make a board that you know, you can't break through. Especially since I'm not maining Breakthrough Skill, which you know, you could consider playing, but Breakthrough Skill is like, I don't love how specific in matchups it is. I will probably consider Finish Chain more, simply because you know, if you can protect our Watts for a turn, that gives us a lot of value, and you know, protecting the Watts is not easy. So Finish Chain assisting in that can be nice. It also helps us against Exciton because you know, we may have the strongest Exciton in the format, but we are also very weak to Exciton because you know, we go so plus. Like Thunder Seahorse is a +3 that can plus even more. So yeah, I feel like it's more versatile than Battle Traps or Honest. But you know, Honest is another card that you might be wondering why I'm not playing. You know, it's a fine card, honestly, in this deck. It's not like in Constellars where I would never play it again after playing it once. But you know, it's not the greatest card. And because our guys are so small, you know, one of the issues that I was thinking about with the deck is like, versus Mermals, Undying just beats your normal summon. Undying just beats Cobra. Like, what the fuck? Undying is actually big for us. So you know, the fact that we could have to use Honest on something so small is kind of weird. And you know, also they can easily play around Honest with this deck because like, even just armor plus Gilgigantex is enough to not stop the battle phase with Honest. You know, they can go attack with armor first, and then I go Honest, my monster goes to 2100, and Gilgigantex is bigger than that. So that's kind of an issue. I found about great format library. My top 8 and top 4 matches from Mortal Attack Monthly 35 aren't showing up. I've searched Artifact Thunder, and you know, this match versus Spiral, I've lost it, but you know, frankly, this match is so good. Actually, no, I'm gonna stop it. This match was so good that it deserves its own video. Like, Spiral is fucking cracked, okay? Sorry, went off topic. But no, yeah, that was like one of the most insane matches I've ever played. Anyways, but so yeah, the fact that so any soul charge means that you can attack directly for 4,400 damage over the course of a game, plus cowboy damage, which comes up a lot, is like very punishing to soul charge decks. Especially turn 1 soul charges, because artifacts can often deal with those kinds of boards. Often, sometimes, depends. Also, Giraffe, pretty good for that. But obviously the deck does have issues with like Felgrand and such. Another thing is that the fact that the hands the watts are so small makes them pretty good into the hands, because they just run over the hands, and you don't have to worry about them crashing. Besides Mahander into Ice Hand, but that's just one card, and not the most likely for you to summon alone. But no, yeah, speaking of Mahander, like, this deck makes rank 4 so much more often than Artifact Trap Level could, which, that plus Soul Charge is why when you see the extra deck, there's so many more rank 4s than rank 5s, and, frankly, you could cut the M7 entirely and just play Teros and play these. And, there's a lot of rank 4s that we are considering, I've tried them on Direwolf. There's also Crazy Box, which, I've lost a game to not playing it. So that is definitely something I'm considering. There's also stuff like Rhapsody Berserk to get over Felgrand, or well, after you've baited it at least. And Leo, other stuff, problems for rank 4 decks that Rhapsody addresses. And in general, banishing monsters from the graveyard is pretty good. Bijinte Tsukuyomi could be an option, but frankly I've not felt the need for it. Giant Hand, is pretty good. Heartland Draco could be funny, but it's kinda redundant. But yeah, you're gonna make rank 4s a lot with this deck, so that's always pretty good. There's a reason why I'm gravitating towards this deck. You know what decks I like to play? Rank 4 decks and artifact decks. So, playing both together, pretty nice for me. What else? Oh yeah, What Cobra? We're playing 2, but earlier the builds were playing 3. The thing is, like, you want to see it, but you don't want to brick on engine, because this deck can do that. You don't want to see too much engine, and the third Cobra can lead to that. And it's not particularly necessary in terms of gadget plays. It's nice, but I don't think I've felt that if I had just one more What Cobra I would have won, because the deck wins usually by the time that you get to your last What summon, or you win or you lose, and you don't really need the 5th What in my personal experience. But I might not have been thinking about that too much. Yeah, which is also the reason why I'm not loving the double Murmoleo. Murmoleo is great, but we already have enough normal summons that we don't really need her that badly. Now, the deck is still work in progress. The reason why I keep bringing it so much right now, and I plan to keep doing that for a while, is because, well, I want to stress test the deck without having to test it outside of tournaments. So I'm just gonna spam in at tournaments. That's kind of my style of testing. Tournaments are the testing grounds for me. But yeah, there's like flex spots that I'm not sure about the side deck. I am not gonna spoil my Mortal Monthly list, but the side deck will definitely be improved upon. Main deck ratios, like, I am going in a hand trap direction, but maybe more traps would be good. Soul Charge, is it good? Is it not good in this deck? I don't know. Might be good enough. Maybe we could even play 2. I don't know. I still have to test that. And you know me, I'm not really willing to test outside the tournament setting. Which I recognize that is entirely a me issue, but yeah, here you can see kind of good example of breaking on too much engine. And I didn't play really too well here. I probably should have gone for a side the turn earlier, but it kind of worked out anyways. He opened triple gear. That's hilarious. And the Georgiano. Yeah, but we both kind of break. But you can see that Thunder Seahorse special summon lock is not the best, but it's manageable. And here he summons Acid Golem. Some kind of my thought pattern was like, let's just get him to burn himself to death, and hope to win that way. By attacking with the Watts. But something that I've done once with Thunder Seahorse is like, you can just Thunder Seahorse into Thunder Seahorse and normal summon one guy if you need to beat over something. It's very small. Like, that is something you can do. It's kind of like a gadget. It's kind of like a Magdalene, more to be honest. But you're not special summoning for that turn. And the next turn you can search the bot Cobras and you have even more gadgets. So that's pretty good. But yeah, here he sets Diddy Crow, and my idea is like, if the card is not a bluff, I've lost anyways, so I'm just gonna attack it anyways. I'm speaking ahead of myself, but that's just because I remember the game bit when I'm saying it, because it's quite recent. But yeah, just go for a normal summon the Thunder Seahorse and pray. He goes for the soul charge, and yeah, like the more that I'm doing this, the more I realize that if I want to edit my videos by removing the silencers automatically, like I've done the past few videos, if you've not noticed, I need to start recording the replays and adding them in post, because this is not easy or fun. I don't want to keep trying to talk while going along with the replay, to avoid having the replays jump up and down too much. I'm sure the footage is gonna be jumpy, so that's also an issue. But the main thing is like, if I don't do it this way, then there's gonna be whole chunks of video missing if I just let it go fast forward. A small rant aside. I don't really know what to say here besides, going Thunder Seahorse into two Thunder Seahorses turn 1 is actually a pretty decent play in my opinion in matchups where you feel like you can survive. And that goes like, that alone is just +3, because Thunder Seahorse into Thunder Seahorse into two Watts and two Mahunders, that's +3, and then the Watt Cobras also give you a plus, so that's just +5 of one card. The deck is very nice offensively, and it's not Constellars, but I have won a game that was like, yeah, I won so quickly it felt like playing Constellars. But yeah, here we see Scythe being the GOAT as usual into Gyugias. Man, I can't believe I underrated Scythe so badly before. Nowadays I'm the guy that decides the second Scythe all the time. That's hilarious. But yeah, here we just turn off his effect with drop so I can safely attack, so that's nice. And yeah, he goes for Gyurgian tax, but yeah, my hand is full of engine, I can just... it's gonna be fine. So yeah, that's it from me. Leave a like, join the Discord, leave a comment, ring the bell, all that good shit. And join the Watt gang, the Watt revolution. What the fuck am I even saying? Goodbye.